In today's video, I'm going to show you how I do my faux wood technique on a laminate piece of furniture. Hey you guys, my name is Yari. I am the owner and artist here at Lilly Moon Vintage, where I refinish furniture to help fund our journey towards IVF, and I teach you tips and tricks that I have learned over the years about painting furniture. Today's video I'm really excited because it is being sponsored by Chic, and I have teamed up with them to do a really fun giveaway. So make sure to watch till the end so that you can know exactly how to enter into the giveaway. Make sure to give me a thumbs up if you like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, so for the most part, this is what we started with. Unfortunately, Mr. Lilly Moon Vintage forgot that I had to take pictures of this piece before he got started. Here he is filling those holes with a little bit of Bondo, and once that was dried and we sanded it down, I started to prime. I chose to prime with the gray Zinsser 123 Bullseye primer, and I did about 2 coats of this. Now this top is laminate, and I primed with that same exact primer, and later in the video you will see why that was a bad idea. Sometimes I do like to prime and wait for that to dry and then just kind of inspect the piece again, and then just really take a look at some more imperfections that the piece may have. So this is where I went ahead and filled in some of those imperfections a little bit more with a little bit of Bondo, and then went ahead and sanded that back down once it was dry and did my second coat of primer. So today's video is sponsored by Chic Paint. This is actually a color from their new launch. They have a new release of beautiful colors, and this is in the color Tide Pool. So I was lucky enough to try this color, and they also sent me this beautiful brush that, you guys, I actually really fell in love with. I don't know what it is about this brush, but it's pretty amazing and I loved it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just do a first coat on my piece with this color and this brush. I really wanted to get a feel of how this paint brushed on because I hadn't used it before and I hadn't used this brush before. So I wanted to give you guys my honest opinion on brushing this paint. So once this first coat dries, I am going to take my piece into my spray booth and do the second coat by spraying it. Because again, I want to give you guys my first impressions on brushing and spraying it because I know I get a lot of questions about both. So I want to go ahead and do that for you guys. So I'm just taking a little bit of my masking paper and some frog tape to cover my top. The reason that I'm doing that is because I am going to be doing my faux wood finish on the top, and covering it up is just going to protect it from some overspray. So when I am spraying, I usually just eyeball how much water to use. I've been spraying for over 3 years now, you guys, so I really don't measure, but I always strain my paint. This is just like a little tea strainer that I get at the dollar store. So I make sure that I strain my paint because you don't want any kind of bits or little like dried up chunks to land inside your spray gun and then it clog up and cause some issues down the line. And then I'm just gonna add a little bit of water. So you've seen me use this spray before. This is the Wagner Flexio 5000 and it has been my go-to sprayer. I do own some HomeRite sprayers as well, but ever since I got this one, it's just the one that I gravitate to. It's so easy to use. The mist that it sprays is beautiful and it is ridiculously easy to clean compared to any other sprayer that I've used. So what you see me using here is just a really thin board that I like to just kind of prop up against the edges of my dresser or like the frame, because I don't like any overspray on the glides of my dressers, or like the glides of the drawers, I mean. Usually that causes me issues later on when I try to slide in my drawers and they're just super sticky because of that overspray. So I try to protect that as much as possible. Now that my paint is dry, I'm just gonna go ahead and pop my drawers back in and then spray the drawers. Also, having that board to use to protect from overspray comes in really handy when you're doing the drawers as well, because it saves a lot of money on tape. So just something to keep in mind. So here's where things start getting a little interesting. I removed the paper from here, and my initial plan was to go ahead and start my faux wood finish on top of this. However, after I removed the paper, I did a scratch test and the primer was just not holding up, and it had already been sitting for about 2 days. So I took out my Festool Rotex 90 and with an 80 grit, I sanded it all back down because you want to just make sure that you have the best adhesion. This is a laminate top, and the last thing you want is to paint your piece and then have an unhappy customer if they receive it and then the paint scratches off down the road. So went ahead and sanded it down, and I'm going to be priming it with Fusion's Ultra Grip. That's what has just given me the best results on laminate tops. So I'm going to go ahead and just apply 1 coat of this. That's all that's needed. Let it dry for 12 hours, and then I will come back and do my faux wood finish. So for my faux wood finish, I am going to use another new color from Country Chic. This is called Road Trip, and the reason I like to use colors like this for when I do my faux to finish is because it's the color to me that looks the most, you know, comparable to like raw wood. So that's what's going to be my base. So whatever line of paint you like to use, try to look for a creamy yellow tone type of just undertone paint that you can go ahead and put as your base. I'm gonna go ahead and apply 2 coats of this before going on to the next step. Now that I have 2 coats of paint and they have dried, I'm going to take a little bit of a chocolate color paint with a chip brush, and I'm just going to put a little bit on my brush and offload. It's really important for you to offload your brush so that you really have not much paint on your brush, because essentially we're just dry brushing. It's going to be really hard to tell on this shot right now what I'm doing or how it's coming out, because I'm going very slowly. Even though I have this part sped up, but I'm going a little slower and with not a lot of paint, and I'm just gonna build up just little lines on my piece, and that's what's gonna give you a little bit more of an authentic grain look. Once I'm done with that, I'm just gonna take my brush in another direction, and I'm just going to go a little bit harder in certain areas, and that's just gonna create that kind of faux wood grain on there. Now, obviously, this is not going to look exactly like wood, but it's just going to give you that wood feel, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. I chose to go lighter on this one with my stain, and I'll show you exactly what stain I'm going to be using over this. But I chose to go a little bit lighter because the knobs that I picked for this piece were kind of my inspiration for my top. So you can choose to do different designs based on whatever look you're looking for. I'm just going to do a couple like curvy designs on here, and then once I put my stain on there, it'll look really pretty and all come together. So before moving on to the staining process, you want to make sure that you let this dry for a few hours. I'm going to be using Golden Oak and Kona. This is from Varathane Premium Wood Stain, and I just did a 50-50 mix. You guys know I like to mix, and I couldn't find that perfect color, so I just chose to mix it, and I just have a little sponge that I'm going to apply this with. Now, yes, this is an oil-based stain, and I am applying this over chalk paint. The reason this works with chalk paint is because chalk paint is very porous, so it's really going to absorb that stain. And like I mentioned, this stain specifically dries a lot faster, so in about an hour, technically, I could either do one more coat if I want a deeper color, or I can top coat. However, just to be on the safe side, I always give it a few hours before I do the top coating. I believe on this one, actually, I waited overnight. So yeah, just make sure that you wait enough time, because you are going to be, at least for me, I'm spraying water-based top coat over an oil-based stain. So you just want to make sure that it dries really well before you top coat. So I ended up doing 2 coats of top coat from Country Chic, and it just gave it a really nice subtle sheen. you guys really liked that video. I had a lot of fun doing this one because I haven't painted in a color like that in a really long time. So that was fun, and just the faux wood finish tied into like the color of the knobs, I just, you know, it kind of gave me tropical vibes. I don't know. In order to enter into the giveaway for Country Chic paint, it's a $100 giveaway. Make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know which color you would like to see me paint in next. That's all you gotta do. I will let you know in the comments who the winner is, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. I hope you guys